Hello, lit up family, BioRavers. We are here in the weekly community call for the BioRave Club. Don't mind my voice. We had a big weekend, but I'm so happy to be recording this and here for you in the community. If you're watching this, please let me know. If you're watching it on a replay or if you hop on live later on this, please let me know. I'm so happy that you're in the community and I'm so grateful for you guys to be like the first like people in this movement because trust me when I say this movement is fucking huge. It's going to be massive. And so I'm super excited to have you here in my very early days. And, this community is really for us to connect, to communicate, to ask questions, to work on our habits, our mindsets, whatever it is. And so I want to encourage you to use it, to drop in the chat, to watch the replays, to ask questions, to implement the things I'm sharing. The only way you're ever going to see results is if you implement the things I'm sharing. And if you have challenges with implementation, if you have challenges with accountability, if you don't can't seem to get yourself motivated to do things, well, that's why I'm here, right? That's why you maybe want to reach out to me. We can have a chat. You can talk about joining a program or being in a group or whatever to help you get to your goal. Because really, the only way I can really help you get to your goal is if you actually do the thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with needing help. Like, we all need help sometimes. I needed help when I first started. And so know that I'm here for you. I'm here to support. I'm here to help you literally thrive. Like when I talk about this every day in my life to myself. And I always tell myself, I'm like, man, I just need to get everyone feeling as good as I do. Obviously, those that want it, not everyone wants to be at this level, and that's okay. But for those of you that do, for those of you that want to be on this level, like I am your girl. Like I'm talking about next level energy, like getting high, like feeling fucking incredible every single day, not need to rely on anything for energy, for comfort, for safety, for just being so secure in who you are as a human being and how you operate and knowing yourself on a deep level. And that's how you actually tap into that energy. I believe it's a really big part. One of the pillars, one of the four pillars that I teach on is that soul, like how to gain to know yourself at a soul level and honoring your desires, what you want, and like tapping into your energy. I really believe we all have this energy. We're all connected to source or whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe. And we all have access to this energy. And so it's how do we get you biohacking, but not only biohacking, like living a life that's lit up in all areas. Yes, your health, yes, your mindset, but also your purpose, what fulfills you, how you show up, your happiness, what makes you happy. Right. And so that's what it's all about. It's not just about partying. Yes, partying is great. Yes, being sober is amazing. Yes, being healthy and thriving is fucking phenomenal. But it's also about like your purpose, what you're here to do, right? A big part of being healthy for a long time and tapping into longevity and optimal health into your old age is actually purpose and fulfillment, right? Is actually feeling like you're contributing to the collective, like you're a part of something bigger, right? This is why this movement is so important to me because as much as it is about shifting the party scene and creating sober clubs all over the world, yes, that's awesome. It's also about helping people tap into realizing how powerful they are and what they truly are capable of, right? It's about tapping into your magic and what you're meant to do and getting clarity and feeling good in your body and then going on to do the things that light you up and I always say help you live a lit up life, right? So if you're here for this, let me know. Drop in the chat or DM me or whatever. Like if you watch these replays, please let me know. Like these are gonna be here for you forever and ever. And so today's video, we're talking about biohacking, like what it is, what the basics are, how to really implement it in your daily life. And I'm gonna be giving you very strategic daily steps you can do every single day. This is literally what I teach, right? And so it's going to be the basics. Like biohacking gets to be easy, it gets to be the fucking basic. Like biohacking is not only about the supplements and the chambers and the ice baths and the testing and the tracking your sleep and the whoops and the devices and the tech and the blah and the blah. Like, yes, it can be that. But let me tell you that all that stuff that's been popularized by a lot of biohackers that have a lot of money, it's not accessible or practical for 99% of the population. So my job actually is to help people biohack in a way that's easy, that's mostly free, that's accessible, that's practical, that is approachable, that they can actually implement this into their daily life. No matter who you are, you're going to be able to do these very basic biohacks. This is why I teach my programs. Like literally, I'm just helping people do the basics. And once you master the basics, once you really master the basics, and like I've been doing this for like 3 years and I'm still mastering the basics. Like it's an ongoing process. You're always refining, defining, shifting, pivoting because life is always fluctuating, right? I'm always focusing on the basics. But once you feel really solid on the basics, and then you can go add on the extra stuff, the supplements, the chambers, the testing, the whoops, the tech, all the extra stuff. But let me tell you that you can achieve absolutely incredible levels of health, energy, well being, of thriving, of litness just through the basics that are mostly free. All right. So we're going to go through a framework that I call M&Ms. I actually call this the energy equation. And I'm not sure if you're new to my world. I used to have a program called the energy equation. And it was about helping people tap into their energy. And my acronym, the framework is M&Ms, which is mindset, nutrition, movement, and sleep, right? MNMS. M&Ms, easy to remember. I always will work with my clients and say, hey, have you done your M&Ms today? Like easy, get your M&Ms in, right? And so it's about the basics, like truly. So I'm going to go through each of them. I'm going to go through some steps you can take, and then you'll be able to really tap in and apply this to your daily life and start biohacking your way to more energy, to feeling better, to really tapping that in. Hi, Monique. How's it going? Nice to see you. I'm just talking about basic biohacks and ways to implement this into your life. So I'm going to do my little spiel. But if you have any questions or comments, you can drop them in the chat. Then at the end, if you have questions, we can have a little chat, okay? Nice to see you. So the first thing I want to cover is mindset. This is actually something that all the biohackers don't talk about, but I think it's so powerful because ultimately, like, this is my version of biohacking and why I think it's so important. It's not just about the health, like the physical health. Like, yes, you're moving your body. Yes, we're eating healthy. Yes, we're sleeping and we're optimizing our body, our physical energy. And that's super important. But what we're also doing is optimizing our mental energy and our mindset and our state and our nervous system. This is so important because ultimately a lot of reasons why we want to do these things and optimize our habits is to feel good, right? Is to feel energized, is to have more confidence, is to be healthy, to not have to rely on coffee or substances, to have a clear mind, right? To be focused, to have clarity, to be productive, to live a life that you want and have the things available to you, whether that's your energy to go out later or energy to hang out with your friends and be present, like whatever you're desiring, right? But that really comes down to like how you're feeling, and your thoughts have a direct effect on your feelings. And so if we don't talk about addressing your thoughts, it's such an important thing to learn how to address your thoughts as well as your physical health, right? So that's why I talk about mindset so much, because it's so important when it comes to shifting your state and getting yourself into a higher frequency of energy, because we ebb and flow, we feel emotions all throughout our day. And it's actually about how do you get yourself from, let's say, an anxious feeling to a more empowered, like calm, grounded feeling, right? How many of you want to feel more calm and grounded every day, right? Let me know in the chat. So it's like we're going to feel these ebbs and flows, these waves of emotions. And it's like, how do we get ourselves to feel a different way, right? So mindset piece is so key. That's the first pillar of kind of the energy piece, and the biohacking is like, okay, mindset. How am I thinking? How do I see myself? How do I speak to myself? Like when something not so great happens, what am I thinking? Am I anxious? Am I negative? Or do I have a more laid back approach? Am I not over analyzing all the things that happen in my life? Because when we're stuck in this routine and this mindset of like over analyzing, worrying, anxiety, oh my gosh, what if this? What if this doesn't work out? What if that? What if that? Every thought actually gives us a feeling. Every thought has a experience attached to it, right? And it releases chemicals in the body, in the brain. And these chemicals can either help us feel a certain way or help us feel better. And so every time we think about something, it's really important to see, okay, how did that thought make me feel? And is that helping me get to where I want to be? And one of the most powerful things I'm going to share with you that you can implement into your life is reframing, is catching your thoughts, is flipping the script and shifting how you speak and shifting how you say things to yourself. So, for example, let's say you are about to post on social media. I'm just using the example because I have a lot of people, I work with people that post on social media, right? You're about to post social media, you want to write this post and you're feeling good about it. And you're like, oh, should I really say that? Like, what if that doesn't land? Like, what if I get judged? Oh no, like, what are they gonna think? Oh, is that right? Like, am I saying the right thing? Oh my gosh. And you start having that thought. Let me know if anyone's ever had that thought if you post on social media. And so that thought process is in itself is already like, ooh, makes you feel a certain way, makes you feel like contracted, like doesn't excite you. So instead of thinking that, right, you can say to yourself, like, what if it works out? This post is something I really want to post, and I know my ideal clients are going to love it. Actually, this is something that's really valuable, and those that want to know about this will read this. Like just little things like that to help you think better, to help you feel better about whatever the situation is. And this goes for every single situation. And the reason I mention this is because a lot of times it's never about like the thing we're doing. For example, when I work with clients and the goal is to get them to eat more vegetables, it's not actually about the eating more vegetables. It's about how they think about it. It's the fact that they're like, oh, but I don't like vegetables, and oh, like they taste so bad, and oh, like I don't know if I want to eat that, like man, blah blah, and they have this whole narrative about the fact that the eating vegetables isn't the thing. It's the story, it's the way they perceive and the whole narrative around eating vegetables. And so it's always that, like, that's always the piece I work on because that narrative around eating vegetables or posting content, whatever you are doing, helps either make you feel motivated to do it or makes you feel not motivated to do it. And that feeling in itself can either hinder us or help us feel really good, right? Does that make sense so far? Let me know. And so that's the first piece. Obviously, there's so many more pieces to this. Like mindset really comes down to your belief system, your identity, conditioning, working on your limiting beliefs, like working on the inner narrative, undoing a lot of things that we've been taught, things that we feel like we need to do. And that's a whole other piece. And like I do a lot of deeper work with people around that. But just know that you have the power to shift your narrative and flip the script in the moment. That's actually the most powerful way to do that, in my opinion. Yes, you can sit there and journal and meditate and do hypnosis and all and tap, which I also encourage and teach on. But it's actually about, okay, how can I flip the script in the moment so I can take action on this thing? Because action is actually the only thing that's going to get you the results you want. So if you're not taking action because you're thinking negatively, well, we need to shift your thinking so you can take action and get the results you want, right? All right. So that's the first piece. So that's a really big piece of biohacking. And in my world, like mindset is so key. All right. Let me know if you're here. Drop in the chat if it's making sense. Okay. So the next piece is the second piece of the framework or the M&M equation. It's nutrition. Okay. Nutrition is one of the best ways to tap into your energy and to optimize your physical health. And as people that care about our well-being, Monique, I know, it's so happy to have you. Actually, where are you from? Let me know in the chat. Where are you from? Where do you find me? Happy to have you in the community. So, nutrition is really doesn't have to be so complicated. I think a lot of times people think it needs to be like, oh, I need to take 10 supplements, and oh my gosh, I can't eat any pizza or pasta, and oh, I need to fast and not eat this, and not like people think there's so many rules around nutrition. And it's my job to make it as easy as possible for you to eat as nutrient dense and as whole foods as possible. Greater Atlanta, Georgia? I'm like, what is GA? um, so it's not about like that is yes, it's a part of it. Yes, taking supplements when you need them is important. And cutting things out that aren't serving you. Like I'm not saying eat junk all the time, but I think we get into a point where we think it's so overwhelming when it's really not. I'm going to break down basic balanced meals are all you need to focus on. Eating balanced meals. Okay, what's that mean? It means eating fiber, carbohydrates, proteins, healthy fats at every meal. Okay, I'm gonna go through each of those components. I'm gonna talk about why it's so important. First of all, having each of these at every meal makes a whole balanced meal. So you have fiber, which is anything that has plant fiber. Okay, so plants, vegetables, fruits, grains, right? Those are plant based foods and those have high fiber. Legumes, nuts, seeds, those also have fiber in them. So, how can we make sure each meal has fiber? Now, when I say fiber, I want you to think of like vegetables and fruits, right? How can we incorporate more vegetables and fruits into our life, into our meals? I'm not sure if you know, but one of the things I say on a daily basis, it's one of the mottos and the mantras in this community. It's eat more plants and do more dance. Okay, like that's something I say to myself every single day. And it's like my little catchphrase, eat more plants and do more dance. If you eat more plants and you move your body more, you're going to really tap into, being healthier just from those two things. Of course, we talk about other things too in the community, but if you just do those two things every day, like over the next X amount of time, you're going to feel phenomenal. Okay. And if you like dancing, side note, I'm doing a free challenge in December that's revolving around dancing and tapping into your energy and becoming more confident and feeling really good in your body. So if you want to join the challenge, DM me on Instagram and I'd love to have you. But okay, plants, fiber, beautiful. Next piece is carbohydrates. Whenever I say carbs, people think like, oh, but like I heard bread and pasta is bad. Like, oh, I was told not to eat this. When I say carbs, I mean whole food carbs. I mean whole grain rice, brown rice, quinoa, right? Barley. I'm talking about like the really whole grains. And yes, pasta is can be a thing too, like whole grain pasta. The more we can stick towards more whole grains, the better. Also, carbohydrates are potatoes, are sweet potatoes, right? Things like that. So I want you to think about those types of foods. And then the next piece would be protein. Okay, protein rich foods are meats, right? Fish, chicken, eggs, nuts and seeds, plant based proteins, soy, tofu, things like that. So, how can you have that in your meal? One thing is that a lot of people don't eat enough protein during the day. So, I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't know what both you eat, but making sure you be mindful like, hey, do I have protein in this meal? And okay, I don't have protein, so I need some protein, right? And the last piece is your healthy fats. So having a small amount of healthy fats every day is actually super supportive for our brain, for our hormones, for our functioning, for our cells, right? And so eating healthy fats like olive oil, like nuts and seeds, like avocados, right? Avocado oil, things of that nature are super important, just small amounts every single day. So that's what you want to have in every meal, right? And that's going to look different, but asking yourself every time you eat, okay, do I have fiber? Do I have some vegetables or fruits? Do I have a healthy, balanced carb, right? Do I have some protein? And do I have some healthy fats? And then, like every meal, you get to work on evolving that, right? Does that make sense so far? If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll get back to them. So, next piece is like, why is balanced meal so important? Like, what's that have to do with like energy and like biohacking? Well, actually, there's so many pieces to this, but a big piece is your blood sugar management and insulin. I'm not going to get into too much detail because it can get really like sciencey, but all you need to know is like blood sugar management is one of the most important things when it comes to optimal performance, focus, energy, productivity. When our blood sugars actually drop low, it triggers our nervous system into fight or flight. Because when our blood sugars are low, it actually signals the body that we are in danger, that we have low sugars, that we need to like do something about this. Because that means we are not having enough energy to fuel our cells. And that means if we don't have enough energy, your body thinks you're going to die. Now, of course, you're not actually going to die, but our body is always want to keep us safe, and having low blood sugars is not safe for us, right? So when they drop down, actually our body's like, oh my God, low blood sugars, alert. And a lot of things happen. One of the biggest things that happens is that you lose focus, right? You get drained because your body's trying to save energy. Your brain isn't working as optimally because you don't need your brain when you're in your fight or flight mode. You don't digest as well. You have brain fog sometimes, and you also can feel anxious. So this happens often for people like midday, maybe around 2 p.m. You hit like that wall, right? So at 2 p.m. slump, all of a sudden you're like, oh, like I feel so tired, like I can't focus. It's taking you forever to complete a task. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to take a nap, or you grab another coffee, whatever, whatever. A lot of times that's because you have low blood sugars and you haven't eaten enough during the day, or you haven't eaten a balanced meal during the day. So your blood sugars are low. All right. So keeping balanced meals throughout your day prevents that dip, prevents that lack of energy, prevents that, lack of focus. So you can keep going. People often ask me, like, how do you have so much energy all the time? Like, I just balance my blood sugars and I move my body and I just do the basics, which is what I'm sharing with you right now. Right. So that's a big piece. So balanced blood sugars, insulin, having that solid. There's a bigger piece to that, but I'm not going to explain because I could literally talk about blood sugars and insulin and everything for hours and hours. And that's actually why I have a program about it. But anyway, so next piece. So we talked about mindset, talked about nutrition. Next piece is movement. Okay, is movement. Now, I'm not going to spend too much here. Movement. We all know movement's good for you. It's important, right? It brings you more energy. You release endorphins. So it's like, how do we get more movement into our days? And not just like, yes, go work out for an hour, half an hour, but it's actually like getting movement into your day, like actively. So instead of sitting at your desk for 8 hours a day, can you take movement breaks? Can you have a little dance party? Can you go for a walk outside? Can you break up the periods of sitting? Right? That's what's really important because I think it's actually more effective to move periodically during the day rather than just work out for an hour and then sit for the next 10 hours. It's actually counterproductive. So, really encouraging people to move, to walk, to get up and stretch, and to dance, and to whatever it is throughout your day. So, really tapping into how can you make that happen? Is that setting dance breaks for yourself or stretch breaks or reminders on your phone, right? Because every time we move, we actually create something in the brain. It's called BDNF, which is called brain derived nootropic factor. If you ever heard of nootropics, which is like nootropics are supplements and things that help your brain be optimized and operate better. We actually have natural nootropics in the body that get released when we move our body and exercise. And this actually helps our brain function better, helps us create more neural synapses, help us learn faster, think better, think clearer, be more creative. If you ever have like worked out and moved your body, like the clarity you get after or the ideas, the downloads you get, I'm not sure if any of you can have experienced that, but I know like after I work out or even during the workout, I'm like, ooh, that's a good idea. And I'll get downloads about all these things because your brain is optimized and you're working and you're promoting that positive endorphin or that BDNF in the brain. And so that's one of the biggest keys for people that are like, oh, like I'm not creative, I'm lacking creativity. What's happening? Like I feel tired, I'm hitting a wall, brain fog. Go move your body, go eat a balanced meal, go drink some water, right? A big piece of that is also being hydrated, is feeling like you have enough nourishment in your body so it can operate in the way it needs to. Because just being, even just 2% dehydrated actually affects our brain function and can lead to brain fog, lack of focus, lack of productivity, all the things, right? Speaking of, drink some water, water break. Okay, so movement. All right, I'm not gonna get into like the nitty gritty, but just know like moving your body in whatever way is super beneficial and trying to get movement in every single day. The last piece I'm gonna talk about, and then please drop your questions if you have any, and then we can have a little chat, is sleep. The last S is sleep. So the M&M's framework is mindset, nutrition, movement, and sleep. I would say sleep is one of the biggest things I help my clients with. It's funny because people think like, oh yeah, well you're a health coach and so you do meal plans and nutrition. Like I don't do meal plans actually. A lot of it's like working on your sleep, which is funny, but sleep affects your hormones, affects your hunger hormones, affects your cravings at night. It affects so many things, how you feel, your energy, balance. Like, so if I don't address your sleep, like there's no point. So being really tapped into how you can sleep better, it's actually where I started. A big part of my journey was improving my own sleep and then helping others do the same. So optimizing your sleep is one of the most important things we can do and focus on. And it's really about creating healthy sleep habits before you go to bed to allow your body to get into a state of rest and relax when you're sleeping. So a big piece of why people can't sleep is actually because their brain won't turn off. Let me know, have you ever experienced like that? Oh, you're like, oh, my brain won't turn off. Maybe you feel like you can't fall asleep, your mind's racing, you're tossing and turning, it takes you a long time to fall asleep, whatever it is. That's because your body and your brain aren't shutting down, they aren't winding down, or we're not giving our brains a chance to wind down and to relax and to de stress and to bring our nervous system down from our busy, sympathetic, beta, fight or flight mode to our relax, our rest, our parasympathetic, that mode. So the best way to do this is there's many different ways. I won't say the best way. I will say you need to find the way that works best for you. There's lots of different ways to do this. And I'm going to share some options. But ultimately, it's just figuring out what you can do before you go to bed to relax your body. And that also includes no screens, no screen time, no blue light, right? Because blue light affects our sleep, our hormones, our melatonin. So even like in the evening, as it's getting dark, I highly encourage you to have blue light blockers on your computer, on your phone, buy glasses. There's like settings in your phone for night light, for warmer lights. There's, computer settings to help you warm up the screen. So even as the night is coming into, it gets getting darker, starting to have your screens dim the light, and you can even set that automatically. And this allows you to start producing melatonin because naturally humans, when we have sunlight or blue light hit our eyes, it tells our body that, hey, it's time to get up. It's daytime. Like we're going to be active. We're going to be moving. Like it's time to start doing the things, right? And then when the sun goes down, because, when we were back in our caveman days, sun went down and our body's like, oh, it's time for bed. Wow, it's time to wind down. It's time to sleep. But now we have all this tech all the time. We still have blue light hitting our eyes. And the blue light is telling our body that it's still daylight. It's still time to be awake in our operating mode, even though it's like 10 p.m. But because we're on our phones, our body doesn't know that it's night because we have blue light. So super important to start reducing your blue light exposure as the sun goes down. And then like 30 minutes or an hour before you go to bed, no blue light at all, like zero. Okay. And instead, during that 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to start to wind down. So that might mean turning off your lights, turning down your lights, putting on some calm music, drinking some warm tea, journaling, reading, stretching. It's anything that you feel like will help you calm down. Yoga poses, like, and it doesn't have to be all those things, but does need to be a couple things that you feel will help you get to a calm state. One of the best ways to actually activate your nervous system, to calm down your nervous system, is to take really nice deep belly breaths to activate the vagus nerve, which is a nerve in our belly that helps us trigger that rest and relaxed state. It helps us really just calm down. That vagus nerve is so important. And deep breaths, just like sitting there and breathing, calming yourself down, like really sighing and letting go of the stress of the day, letting go of how you're feeling. And if you can start to build this habit every single night before you go to bed, you'll start to tell your brain that, okay, now we're getting ready for sleep. This is what we're going to do. And it starts to calm down your brain, your body relaxes. And before you know it, you're going to be able to sleep way better, deeper sleeps, more REM, fall asleep faster, well rested. And this also ties into when you wake up, you feel energized, your hormones are more balanced, you have more energy, and then it goes on to the next day. And it just keeps compounding. So, really building a solid sleep habit is going to be really key for you. I actually have a video about sleep. I did a training about sleep a couple weeks ago with the group. So if you want to go watch that, it's in the trainings in a Discord group. If you're not in a Discord group, let me know and I'll get you in there. But we have lots of trainings and fun stuff in the group. So that's the recap for like biohacking basics. Like if you're new to this, you're like, what the heck is biohacking? Just focus on those four things. Focus on your mindset, shifting your mindset, shifting your thoughts into things that are more empowering, make you feel better, and release less anxiety. Focus on nutrition, balanced meals, right? Eating them throughout the day, having all those components I talked about. Your movement, moving your body, getting exercise, taking breaks, right? Getting up, breaking up long sitting periods. And then you got your sleep, building those habits when you're sleeping to really tap into having deep sleep, deep rest, and feeling better. And of course, there's like 100 other biohacks, but I want to keep it really simple and start there. And as you progress, you can add on and do more. But if you really master those basics for the first like 6 months, even, you're going to see massive changes in a lot of things in your life. And so I'm going to stop there. But if you have any questions, let me know. Drop them in the chat or unmute yourself and I can answer some questions for you. But I would really take those four things into account and think about them every single day and do a little check-in for yourself. Like, okay, did I get my M&Ms today? How's my mindset? How's my nutrition, movement, sleep? And then start working on that as well. Any questions? If not, that's totally okay. If anything comes up, you can drop in a Discord chat. I do one-on-ones. Yeah, for sure. Just DM me on Instagram. You have my Instagram, right? It's at PearlCC. Message me and then we can chat about some options for you. But yeah, I'm always here to help. Happy to help you get more optimized and really tap into more energy. And we'll love to have you both at my free challenge. We start on Friday, and it's a dance challenge, and super excited to help people really tap into their energy through movement and to shift their emotions and like really heal. Amazing, Monique. So happy to have you. Okay, if no one else has any questions, we can definitely wrap this up. But please, please, please take that into account, and I'm always here to help. So DM if you have any questions. And we're here to get lit. Okay. So super excited to have you. Margaret, thanks for hopping on. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.